arts, culture, and entertainment in the Coachella Valley. This is The Desert Scene with Bonnie G. from the Mutual Broadcasting System. Here's Bonnie.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. Happy to have you here today. And we're very happy to welcome to the show Robyn Cohen, who is a very accomplished actress who is in the cast of What the Constitution Means to Me at Desert. And we're very happy to welcome her today. Hi, Robyn. How are you?
Hi, Bonnie. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on your show and for being the center of so much, culture, information about arts and crafts in Palm Springs and the desert. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm looking at your bio, and you're making your desert debut, but you were last seen in Palm Springs in Romance at CV Rep. Wonderful theater, directed by Ron Solono, who's a dear friend of mine. And you won a Desert Theater League Award winner, Best Supporting Actress. So nice to have you back in Palm Springs. Really happy to have you at Desert.
It is so good to be back here. I see why people talk about Palm Springs as like a place that they eventually want to just live or retire to or just be there. And Now that I'm living here again, it is so magical. Yeah. Like there's something in the air here and the atmosphere and the culture, the indigenous culture that creates just an atmosphere of unique equanimity and beauty. So I love being back here.
I think Palm Springs Tourism Bureau is going to have to put that on their next poster. I love that. Yeah, it's kind of a small town, but it's a show busy town and very arts oriented, which is really nice. So Tell us a little bit about this play that you're doing at Desert.
Great. So this play, What the Constitution Means to Me, was written by and originally performed by a woman named Heidi Schreck. It is an autobiographical piece about her journey, a woman's journey, growing up in a world that exists without an equal rights amendment or equal protections for women, and the journey of the women in her family and what the Constitution meant to them as young women, what it meant to her as a 15-year-old who was going around the country giving speeches about the Constitution at American Legion halls for prize money, which paid for her college education. And it's talking about what the Constitution meant to her at 15, what it means to her now as a grown-up, what it meant to her mother, her grandmother, her great-grandmother, and her great-great-grandmother, who actually came to America as an immigrant from Germany in 1879 because her great-great-grandfather ordered her from a catalog. So that's how her family came to the States. All a true story. And it's exploring the powers and the relevancy of, in particular, the Ninth Amendment and the 14th Amendment, which, the Reconstruction Amendment, which made newly freed slave citizens, guaranteed them equal protection under the laws, guaranteed their right to vote. But it's exploring, the 14th Amendment, the Due Process Clause, the Equal Protection Clause, the Civil Rights Movement, marriage equality, and issues related to the very relevant Roe versus Wade, the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and how these amendments in this Constitution and these Supreme Court decisions relate to her personal life and to the lives of the women in her family. It was nominated for a Pulitzer, all the Tony Awards, and since its inception, it's really been the root of a lot of, conversations with, civil rights activists, with, women's rights organizations, human rights conversations around the country have cropped up because of this play.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have Michael Shaw as a dear friend of mine. I've known him for years. And I have to say he's always been very good at choosing material, and particularly choosing material that was relevant. And boy, is the Constitution relevant right now in this country. Goodness gracious.
Yes.
So how large a cast is it? Do you have, are there women that play her at different ages?
So this play started out, Heidi workshopped it for like a decade, and it began as really it was just her telling her story and relating it to the Constitution. But then later, as it developed, she added a man that plays both an American Legionnaire who represents the men that would be the judges for the debates that she would do as a teenager to win this prize money for college.
Yeah.
So there's an American Legionnaire who then becomes a friend, Mike, who is a real life friend of Heidi's that Heidi brought into the play. She realized that in talking about the issues of this play, she was talking about a lot of violence, and she said that she really wanted some positive male energy up there on stage with her.
Yeah.
And so she brought in her friend, who then has an opportunity in the show to share his story about what it was like to grow up as a gay man in America. And then the final part of the show, the last 10, 15 minutes of the show, Heidi recreates with a young actual, debater, a teenage debater, an actual debate about the Constitution. And the question that is being debated is, should we keep or abolish the United States Constitution?
Oh my goodness.
We actually do a debate. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's those three people. Yes. So that's the family on stage. And then, of course, the wonderful Craig Wells is directing. He is just a wonderful man, wonderful director and human being. And Paul is stage managing. And Paul, our stage manager, also has some participation in the play, too, in an interesting way. But you'll see it when you see it. Yeah.
Have there been any unique challenges for you as an actress in this role?
That's a great question. This play is very heavily researched. Heidi gives a list of about 50 resources, books, materials, audio recordings of actual Supreme Court cases that she offers to the actors, who are going to be playing this role, playing her. And the deep dive into that has been extraordinary. And also the deep dive into the materials and resources that our dramaturg gave us. And it's not so much that it's so much material. That's not the hard part. The hard part is actually understanding, like, for instance, what the overturning of Roe versus Wade is doing right now in this country to women like Kate Cox and Amanda Swarovski. And the fact that, right now with these Supreme Court decisions, 14th Amendment rights are being stripped away from women. Human rights, women's rights, reproductive rights, bodily rights. And there is a ripping transformational pain that women are having to endure right now, which is, it is what my daily fare is in terms of understanding this play, why it was written, what it's about. And so I'm in the deep waters of, some very gutting and powerful stories that I'm learning about, so that I can really, have ownership of this role. And that, of course, that just kind of poses like, the human challenge of, getting to the bottom of, or trying to get to the bottom of, what is going on in this country right now with the current legislation and with the people that are currently in power. So, yes.
Wow.
It is hard. That is hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fabulous. Well, I just your bio is really, really impressive. I just want to get a couple of these things out. Let's see. Toured around the country in Prisoner of Second Avenue, The Exonerated, both opposite Jeff Goldblum. Love him. Lots and lots of theater. TV credits: Gravity, Law and Order, True Crime, The Closer, Angel. You're a director yourself, acting teacher, founder of the Cohen Acting Studio, appeared in over 55 national commercials. So you got a heck of a resume there. When you would you say you've had to do, because of the subject matter of this, would you say you've had to do a little bit more research on this role than, say, some other things that you've done in the past?
Yes, in some ways, yes. The academic research is pretty tremendous. However, I have to say, Jeff Goldblum, who you mentioned, he was actually my mentor for a decade. He was my professional mentor, and we did shows together. But I also, he brought me with him to sets and backstage and, things that he was working on. We would rehearse for the Broadway shows he was going into. We would go to the set of Will and Grace and go through the scenes. And I was able to have this sort of up close and personal look into the life of an actor, like what a professional looks like. Yeah. And what I learned over the course of that decade, first of all, I'll just say, Jeff Goldblum is the hardest working actor I know. And if you were, coming as an alien to Earth and just were looking at all the actors trying to be actors, let's say in Hollywood or New York or anywhere around the country, and you didn't know who anybody was, you would look at Jeff Goldblum and you would say, oh my gosh, that guy's really trying to make it. He is hustling. So I was able to sort of see that, being an actor and actually walking a mile in the character's shoes, it takes something. And it takes something that kind of is analogous to being it's like an Olympic event. Yeah. And so I have sort of, in many ways, that mentorship provided me with a map. And so my days in general are arranged around how do I walk a mile in this person's shoes? How do I fulfill upon the story that this writer was trying to relay? And so with any role, I do as much as I can in the time that I'm given. It is true that, the beauty of theater is you have a rehearsal process. I've worked with, Wes Anderson in movies, The Life Aquatic, and Jeff Goldblum and Bill Murray were in these movies, and we're all, top actors, and they all have incredible work ethics, but they only have a day or two of rehearsal, right? You only have a couple days on the, if that. So, but I've learned to do as much as I can with the time I'm given. Yeah. Without going overboard, you still have to have energy left to actually perform the thing. So it's a balance. Right. But I think if you're going to do something or take something on, go 1,000%, because I think what you learn and discover and who you get to become along the way is just really, it's really satisfying being able to contribute a story to the best of, to as best as you can. Yeah. So.
Well, Robyn Cohen, fascinating. What the Constitution Means to Me opens January 19th at Desart. You can go to www.desart.org for tickets, or 760-322-0179. Congratulations. Sounds like a wonderful show, and lovely to talk to you. And thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. I hope to see you at the show. We'll roll out a red carpet for you if you can make it.
Well, that's not necessary, but yeah, I'm going to try to make it. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Robyn Cohen. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you next time on The Desert Scene.
This program was produced by the Mutual Broadcasting System.